Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Strong Man Personal Finance. We have a sponsored video today. That's right. If you want me to do a video dedicated to you and you alone on a particular topic, you send me $50, $45 if you're a member, and I'll talk about whatever you want. However, there are some caveats. If I don't think the video is appropriate, I will suggest another one. And then if that's still not appropriate, I will send you your worthless fiat money back. In this sponsored video, this paid video by a loyal, handsome, delicious fan, we're going to look at Ford stock. And we're going to see the likelihood of Ford going bankrupt. Now, before we even get into the financial statements, right? Sorry, my alarm's going off here. Shut up. Oh. Before we get into the financial statements, may I remind you that Ford stock went down to like $1 during the Great Recession. And I don't believe they even took a bailout from the federal government. And they were able to recover. They were able to survive the Great Recession without going bankrupt when other car companies actually took bailout money from the government. So keep that in mind. Now, let's dive in. Well, we got Ford's stock price over the past 5 years. And then we're going to go look at their most recent earnings. So over the past 5 years, the stock is up 69%. Oh, nice. Oh. And that does not include dividends. So their total return is probably 70 something, maybe 80% if you add in the dividends, which you should do. Got a $46 billion market cap compared to Tesla's trillion plus on $185 billion of revenue. That is an extremely low market capitalization. Think about that. This company generated $185 billion of revenue in the past 12 months, and their market cap's like a fraction of that. Okay? I wonder what would happen if Tesla's market cap matched their revenue like that. They had trailing net income of $3.15 billion. So you see they have razor thin margins, okay? $185 billion of revenue, $3.15 billion of net income. If you do the math, their profit margin is barely it's 1.7%. That's extremely tight margins. Okay. Wow. Very impressive. They got a PE ratio of 15, a Ford PE of 9.5, which, that's so low. Well, I don't think people are expecting their earnings to grow very fast. Autos are a very competitive industry. Okay. However, there may be some benefits for Ford as well going into the future because it's an American company. They had a dividend, and they just paid a dividend on August 11th, or they had the ex-dividend date August 11th, 2025. So the stock's up 69%, just looking at it from a stock price appreciation standpoint. And over the last, let's see, when was the stock? This goes all the way back to 1972. From 1972, the stock went up 97%, not including dividends, okay? Not that impressive. I doubt this has beaten the overall market. And if you look at the dot-com bubble, what was going on? Look at the dot-com bubble. This stock, Ford stock, was up to $65 during the dot-com bubble. What was happening back then that was pushing up Ford so much? And then it absolutely collapsed, which I hope Tesla does. And ever since then, it's been kind of range bound. I mean, it's been trading between, like 8, 9, 15, $20. I mean, the highest it got recently was $25 in January 10th, 2022. And then it collapsed right after that. If I was a chart reader and I saw Ford go parabolic, I would get very scared. Okay. So let's look at the last 5 years of financials. So revenue growth year over year, and we'll look at more details in a second, was 4.97%. Overall revenue has been trending up over the past 5 years. Okay, so they are growing their revenues maybe a little bit faster than inflation. Let's look at their margins. So their gross margin, this is their profit on every car they sell before selling, general admin, interest, and expense and taxes, has been steadily going down. Their profits have been contracting basically continually over the past 5 years to the point where they're making 6.44% on average for every car they sell. That's not that good. Okay. That's an extremely low margin. If you have a low gross margin, you're going to have a hard time having any profit at all on the bottom. Their operating margin has also been contracting. Okay, they're not doing that hot. I mean, it's got to be tough out there for the auto industry with rates this high and inflation. Cars are expensive now. Who can afford a new car, especially a F-150? Who is buying F-150s? Seriously, serious question, unless you're Richie Rich. And of course, they've been plowing money into EVs. I'm sure we'll see that. I'm sure they're incurring massive losses on electric vehicles too, because it was the future, bro. Profit margin collapsing. Free cash flow margin has roughly stayed the same. I mean, they had it. I guess they were doing pretty good back in 2021, but at least their free cash flow hasn't been precipitously collapsing. So let's go look at their cash flow trends over time. So if we look at operating cash flow, it actually looks a little bit better. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, a company that isn't underwater on its balance sheet and is generating positive operating cash flow will probably not go out of business. This is any business in general. Now, it could happen. Things could change in the future. But if trends continue and they keep posting positive operating cash flow and they don't have to have massive capital expenditures, which exceed their operating cash flow, which they don't seem to be doing, I don't think it's going to go bankrupt. Okay? That's for any company. However, if you're almost like a national security part of America, yes, the auto industry is part of American national security. Okay? The government actually buys a lot of autos from Ford, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think the government's going to let this go bankrupt, personally. This is a iconic American company that's been around since the early 1900s? Probably, maybe even before that. This company's been around a long time. It's an icon of America, and it has national security concerns. So if things got desperate with Ford, I would not be surprised to see Donald J. Trump intervene with this company. He's already done it with frickin' Intel. Okay? But just looking at their operating cash flow, the only thing that'll kill this company is if the government refuses to intervene and they just massively lose. Like, let's say EVs do become the next thing, and then ICE engines go completely away, and they fail to get a piece of that future market. Yes, then they'll go bankrupt. That's basically the only risk, in my opinion, at least in the short term. Okay? Their operating cash flows are fine. Not the best, but they're pulling in billions of positive operating cash flow, and they're not spending it all on capital expenditures. They're going to be fine. Okay? At least in the short term. Let's see. Of course, they're packing on tons of debt, okay, but they're also paying some off. Their net debt. So back in 2021, 2022, they're paying off debt, but they've been packing on some net debt, at least over 2023, 2024. And then they've had some decreases in overall debt in the first couple quarters of 2025. Their dividends. So they suspended the dividend, it looks like, back in 2021, but they restarted it. What they could always do, if things got desperate, they could stop paying their dividend. As a matter of fact, if your company is having issues, stop paying the freaking dividend. Okay? If I was a shareholder of Ford, which I guess I am indirectly through VT, if they were having cash flow problems, I'd rather have the company survive and stop the dividend. Okay? That's just my humble opinion. So they are paying a dividend, but it's not a huge, like their dividend, it looks like it's sustainable. I mean, at least in the short term, they got enough free cash flow to cover the dividend. Okay. At least so far. So their cash flow margins are stronger, higher than their profit margins. So the reason that could be, I mean, basically it's non-cash expenses. Let's see. Are there anything significant on here? Losses on equity investments. Okay, so they have partial ownership of some companies and they have to write that down. So it's a non-cash expense. So when you partially own another company, you don't consolidate it. You actually have an investment account on your balance sheet and you record that underlying company's profit and loss in your income statement. And the offset is the balance sheet account of investment. It's called the equity method of accounting. So you'll see profit fluctuations based on what companies own. Like, look at this. Look at this. Back in Q3 of 2022. They had almost a $3 billion loss, looks like. A write-down because of a company. That's a non-cash expense. So that's why you might see a differential between what's on the income statement, the accrual basis of accounting, and what's going on with their cash flow. Stock-based compensation, that's a non-cash expense on the income statement, but eventually does come as a cost in the future when the company has to buy back stock to keep the float down, and it becomes very expensive. Stock-based compensation has been growing. Provisions and write-offs of bad debts has been growing. So they've been writing off, basically they've been writing off some receivables that they expected to receive from dealers or whatever. But I don't see bankruptcy yet. Yeah, now if things deteriorate, that could change. But you look at their profits, they're not great. Their cash flow is still decently solid. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the income or the most recent financial reports. So let's see, Q2 2025. Second quarter revenue reached a record $50 billion, incurring a net loss of $36 million as a result of special items. So those are write-downs, but they probably had positive operating cash flow. Adjusted earnings before interest was $2.1 billion, including $0.8 billion of adverse net tariff-related impacts. So yes, the tariffs are hurting Ford, but I don't think Trump would allow Ford to go bust because of tariffs. So that's going to cost the shareholders some money to raise taxes for the government. So it's basically a tax increase on Ford, and then eventually through you to you. But I don't think it's going to sink the company. Operating cash flow was $6.3 billion. That's pretty solid. Adjusted free cash flow is $2. Okay, so they have positive free cash flow. They can pay off debt. They can buy back shares, pay the dividend. They're fine. They declared a dividend of 15 cents per share. Okay, they're confident enough to pay a dividend. And then reinstated full year 2025 guidance included adjusted earnings before interest and taxes of $6.5 billion to $7.5 billion, and free cash flow of $3.5 to $4.5 billion. They could have $4.5 billion to free cash flow in 2025. Where's the bankruptcy? Capital spending of about $9 billion and net tariff-related headwind of about $2 billion. Okay, so obviously it's a very capital-intensive business. So they have the payments. How capital expenditures work is you have a cash outflow on the investing statement of the statement of cash flows. And then over time, as those assets are depreciated, you see that expense on the income statement. So they hit cash flow and expense on the income statement at different times. All right, so the performance shows the power of the Ford Plus plan. What was that? And I have a Ford Fiesta. I don't know. I don't have Ford Plus. And continued execution on cost and quality. Ford Pro is a unique competitive advantage, driving both top and bottom line growth while creating a new high margin revenue stream from software and physical services. Are we selling seat warming subscriptions? Is that what's going on here? Ford Blue delivered profitable market share gains, and we continue to improve the efficiency of our Ford Model E business. Oh, we'll see. Okay, on August 11th, which already happened, they apparently showcased their plans to break through with electric vehicles. Okay, so company highlights. Wholesale units sold increased 4%, so they're still growing like gross units that they're selling. But the first half of the year was down 1% when you look at it year over year. Operating cash flow has actually grown by about $800 million year over year. Revenue's grown 5%. Net income is down 1.9% because of some one-off charges. And they posted a slight loss of 0.1% margins. But like I said, those are usually non-cash expenses. As long as the cash flow is good, you're good. Okay, in general. All right, let's see. Okay, net loss was $36 million, which primarily includes special charges related to a field service action and expenses related to a previously announced cancellation of an electric vehicle program. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Let's see. Ford Model E. How's the sale? I want to see the Model E. So, Ford Model E segment has grown wholesales, the amount of units sold, by 128%. Revenue has grown 105%. Earnings before interest and taxes, negative $1.3 billion. This company's getting mega clapped by these freaking EVs. Okay? Getting clapped. Thanks, Elon. Maybe that was your 4D chess game. Convince everybody to make the same garbage cars that you make. And then Ford Pro, wholesales up 15%, revenue up 11%. So the biggest grower, the fastest grower is Model E. but basically most of the profits are coming from Ford Pro. Okay. And it has a smaller number of units and a smaller number of revenue. So Ford Pro is the bright spot. In the second quarter, Ford Pro generated $2.3 billion in EBIT. Software and physical services contribute 70% of Ford Pro's EBIT on a trailing 12-month basis. In the quarter, Ford Pro paid subscriptions grew 24% year over year. Ford Model E reported a second quarter loss of $1.3 billion. Oh, man. Second quarter results reflected net tariff-related costs, strategic investments in next-generation electric vehicles, and expenses related to the launch of Ford's new battery plant in Michigan. I thought Elon was going to make all the batteries, bro. The segment, so the revenue's growing good, but they're just getting killed with expenses. And they have the Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning. And then Ford Blue reported $661 million in EBIT. Okay. Ford Credit had earnings of $645 million, an 88% increase over a year ago. Okay, they give their guidance. Adjusted EBIT between 6.5 to 7.5 billion after a tariff headwind of 2 billion and 3.5 to 4.5 billion in free cash flow. I don't see bankruptcy. I just don't see it. At least in the near term. Unless there's fraud or something like that. Okay. Here's the income statement. Let's go look at the balance sheet. Okay, so what's on their balance sheet? I'm sorry, I can't zoom in the way it's set up. So they got 23 billion of cash. 23 billion of cash, 14% of receivables, 47% Ford credit receivable, 47 billion, excuse me. And then trade and other receivables of 19 billion, inventories of 17 billion, and other assets of 4 billion. They have total assets of 126 billion. Those are their current liquid assets, and total current liabilities of 114 billion. So they're not underwater. Okay. Most of their liabilities are Ford credit. Ford credit. This is like a combined balance sheet. It's the car company, but it's also the credit portion of the business. So they got plenty of liquidity, plenty of receivables, longer term receivables. Let's see. What's their debt looking like? Long-term debt. So company debt, excluding Ford credit, actually went down $2 billion. So they paid off about $2 billion of long-term debt. So the vast majority of their debt is just the financing portion of the business. I think they're doing fine. I mean, not the best, but they're doing fine. They didn't do any stock buybacks. They posted some positive comprehensive income, maybe from currency transactions. Statement of cash flows, provision for credit and insurance losses actually went up just slightly. Pension expense down. Let's see. They had to record some losses, 261 million in the first half of the year for their equity investments. Yeah, I don't see any huge issues. To be perfectly honest, I don't see. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but I mean they've paid off $2 billion of long-term debt. They got plenty of liquidity on their balance sheet. They're posting decent cash flow. I don't see bankruptcy. And then you always have the backstop of the freaking government. Okay, that can always be a freaking thing. If we look at the company excluding Ford credit, they have 57 billion of current assets and 60 billion of current liabilities. But a portion of those liabilities are deferred revenue. So cash they received up front, but they haven't recorded in revenue yet. Let's see. Yeah, they've been doing okay. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think Ford's going to go bankrupt? So that's kind of my analysis of Ford. Not too bad, nothing crazy. Anyway, like I said, that was a sponsored video. And if you want a sponsored video, see the pinned comment, click the link. It'll pull up a link tree. Click on the sponsored video portion. Very simple. Send me $50. I'll make a video. We're doing member-only comments, sue me. Expert analysis. Thank you. Where's your Florida tan? I actually tried to stay out of the sun. I didn't try to get sunburned. I was mostly, mostly under the umbrella. Umbrella. The dividends are the most important. That's all that matters is the dividend. You should approve a video idea someone sends you before they send you the money, so you don't have to worry about sending it back. If you won't do it, that makes sense, right? No, it's because I approve like 98% of the videos. And if we can't come to an agreement, it takes 2 seconds to send it back. So no, just send the money, send your video topic. If it's not obnoxiously stupid, I'll cover it. Okay. It's a graft. It's a graft. I can't wait till your membership expires. Get out of here, unless you pay for it. Andrew Paulo, Tesla should buy them and replace the F-150 with the Cybertruck. Oh, God. I hope Tesla buys Ford. I hope Tesla buys Ford. That would be hilarious. What's up, pay pigs and brokies? I'm sorry, you got to be a member if you want me to answer your comments. Hello, pay pig lube tube. Electric Mustang looking omega dumb. Let's go. Let me go look at it. Electric Mustang. Only clowns drive Mustangs. Let's go look at the Mach-E, bro. I'm telling you, like, I hate electric vehicles. I don't like them. I don't like the fact that if I'm going on a road trip, I have to find a place to frickin' charge it. Electric vehicles are good for, like, cities. Okay? They're good for cities because there's electricity everywhere. It's a compact area. You can just pull it on the street and there's probably a charger there. Cities are more compact, so you can fit more chargers in there. Out in, like, where I'm at, where am I going to charge my vehicle? In my house? What if I want to go on a road trip? What if I want to go to Florida? I want to drive to Florida. Oh, I have to plot where I'm going to stop, and then I have to stop for 30 minutes? I don't want that stress. And then if I'm parking in a hotel parking garage, oh, what if the garage doesn't have electric chargers? What if all the chargers are full? I don't like electric vehicles. Give me a hybrid, okay? I'll take a hybrid any day. The Mach-E, $38,000. Get out of here. That's before, like, taxes and all that nonsense. 320 miles. So when I went on military training like a month ago, they actually gave me what do they give me? A Prius. They gave me a Prius. I drove all the way to South Carolina and burned like 6 gallons of gas. It was a hybrid. Had amazing gas mileage. And I didn't have to wait and charge my vehicle for 25 freaking hours. Hybrids are the way to go, okay? Oh, but my emissions. Nobody cares about emissions except Europe and America. Basically Europe. Everybody else just pollutes like crazy. Man, we're such idiots. Wow. So amazing. Oh, it looks so pretty. Yeah, I got to charge it. Oh. Mach-E. Oh my God. Mach-E Rally. $58,490. 265-mile range. You got to stop. I mean, you probably got to stop at like 50 miles to be safe. You got to stop every 200 miles. Get out of here. Oh, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. Oh, wow. This is garbage. Wow. All right, a couple more comments. We're going to close this out. I may do like a hangout live stream later today, but I'm pretty freaking tired. I had a long vacation. I had to get up at 5 a.m. yesterday. But I got up at 7:45 to go hung out with my kids a little bit. I'm kind of tired. Let me throw in a pouch, then we'll finish up the member comments. We are building the future with Ford Motors. It's too big to fail. I mean, it's going to be hard for it to fail. I don't think it's going to fail in the short term. Whoever said Ford was going bankrupt is an app. No, he didn't say it was going bankrupt. He was asking the likelihood. I think it's very unlikely in the short term, at least. Thank you for your buy recommendation on Ford. Just wait until it dips to $1 and then buy it. Looking at past data isn't an indication of current or future results. 10Ks and 10Qs is worthless. No, you're right in a sense. But at the same time, like if you look at a company's balance sheet, like let's say I looked at Hyliion's balance sheet and it had $300 million of cash and it was only burning 50 million a year. The only way it's going to go bankrupt in a year is if they massively, precipitously increase their cash burn in the future. So you have to ask yourself, well, is Ford going to suddenly start printing negative operating cash flow? They have a lot of leeway. I don't think they will. It would be very hard for them to start printing negative operating cash flow. So it'd have to be an extreme event. Very unlikely. So yes, you can get some kind of indication, but it doesn't guarantee what's going to happen in the future because anything can happen, but it does give you some indication. Especially if you're looking at a company's balance sheet, you can kind of figure out, well, they got a lot of cash there, so you'd have to really screw up to lose that, to go bankrupt in a year. Never buy America. Well, I've had that Ford Fiesta since 2016. Yeah, I think I bought it in November or December 2016. I still have it. Been going good. No major issues. Buy Ford, buy American. I wasn't even being a patriot. I was literally that was the only car I could buy in Germany. Everything else was like a European model. I was like, oh, I finally found an American car. Let me buy it. I want my money back. Oh, shut up. When are we getting the intel? I just did it. And also, since you grifted your way back since last week without a video, we get at least 3 to 4 videos today. Wine, make me videos. Wine, make me videos. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more today. We'll see. You already did that earlier. Well, exactly. I already did it, clown. Alarm Carlson for union president. Please, just sue me. Please, put your money together and sue me. Destroy everything. Wait till I become self-employed, though, so you can really, really hurt me. Wait till I'm self-employed. Then sue me. Then I'll have to go back to work so I can fight the lawsuit. You might be right, holy moly. Alan Carlson for president. They gave him a Prius. Look, I just went to here's what happened. So I had to drive to South Carolina. So I left my house in an Uber, and the Uber took me to the airport, the Newport News Airport. I went inside, and I had to wait in line for 2 hours. 2 hours to get my rental car. It was this old, man, Social Security, better than you, I'm a boomer. He finally got up there, got my car, and he gave me a Prius. Okay, I didn't choose the Prius, but guess what? It was actually a good-looking car. The newer models are pretty good-looking, and it had crazy gas mileage. I actually liked the car. It's not a bad car. But it's not a Mustang, bro. You gotta look cool for the cheeks. Yeah, okay, loser. It's not a bad car. There's a charging station behind my neighborhood's market. You can drive through there and see people. Yeah, it's like, I just don't want to do. That's so stupid. Tired from vacation. You're I don't just sit there and booze. I actually do stuff. Did you see me working out at the beach in those shorts? See how handsome I looked? Did I clap cheeks in Miami? No, I did not. Hot Galleon should acquire Ford. Oh, man. That would make my year. South Carolina. Yeah, I was in Columbia. Lovely Columbia. Toyota rock. Toyota's a good company. I like Japanese cars. They're very nice. Okay. I actually think they're better than American cars, but it's not patriotic. You ain't America. I'm fat. Look at my hot dog. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. This was a sponsored video. Like I said, if you want a sponsored video, you send me $50. If you're a member, it's only $45. So you should join the membership. You get your comments answered, and you get discounts and sponsored videos, et cetera, et cetera. So consider joining the membership. You can hang out with me. You get discounts, even though you're still giving me money, so you're still losing money, but whatever. And you guys have a wonderful day.